Challenge accepted. So I've decided to take Luise Heinzl's Masterboard Tag Challenge that she's doing for her 40,000 subscriber party. And I thought I would give her lazy masterboard method, which is what she's calling it, not me, a try. Hi, this is Denise with Paper Crafty, and today I am really excited to try this challenge, but with a twist. So I've gone ahead and printed off the freebies. There's a link in Luise's video. I'll put a link to her video down below. But these are the freebie masterboard bases that she has. It's from a big kit that she's just put out, and I really think they're gorgeous. I really like this one in particular. I love these colors. But this one's really cool too, with the little paper kind of coming down. And anyway, she uses a method where she takes these and she uses a whole series of die cuts in her like her Sizzix machine, and cuts out the die cuts directly off of this piece of paper. And she does it in such a way that, you know, this paper remains intact, but then you see the paper down below it. So I am not going to use my dies today. Instead of dies, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this using my electronic die cutting machine. And so I'm going to bring you with me as I create two cutting files that we'll use on these pieces of paper to kind of mimic what Luise did in her video. So I opened up my Silhouette Studio software, and this is for my older Cameo. It's a Cameo 3, Silhouette Cameo. And this is the software that I use. I put up the page setup over here just to show you that this has a 12 by 12 mat as a backdrop, but I want to make sure that I'm working on a letter size media, and I have it in landscape orientation here, not portrait, landscape, because that is the printables pages that Luise provided us with are that. Okay. So I'm going to try to mimic somewhat what Luise did, and she had some label die cuts that she used throughout here of varying sizes. So I'm going to go into this shape menu over here, not the you know, drawing of different stars and things like that, but just the rectangular one. And I'm going to use the rounded edge variation, and I'm just gonna see you get this little kind of cross with a hole in the center, and I'm just gonna click down, drag it out to whatever size I want, and it's red right now, so that means I can, you know, change it, make it this way, that way, any old size I want. Okay, so I'm just going to start off with a size like that, and you'll see that it has these two little dots in the corner. I can change the radius of the corners with this, and when I change this one, it'll change it for all of them. So I'm still in this tool, so I'm just going to create another label. This one I don't want quite that rounded. I like that one a little bit sharper. That's good. I think I'm going to create kind of a more, I don't know, squarish one like that. I like that roundedness right there. That looks good to me. Okay, and now I'm going to go down to the text tool. So I'm just going to click on that. I don't want the default font. I prefer, let's see, my favorite font is American Typewriter, so it's up here because I use it a lot. And for some reason, it's on 72 as the default font size. So if I click on there like that, and I'm just gonna type in some numbers. I'll just do 1, 2, 3 right there. And you can see with what Luise did, she doesn't want the things to be too close together. She wants you to have, you know, doesn't want to make any holes in the paper that, you know, so the paper falls apart. These are kind of spaced a little close together. I like the spacing on the 1 and the 2, but the 2 and the 3 are very, very close. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight these 2 right there. Just kind of, you know, use this cursor to drag and drop right there. I'm going to go to the text tool, and I'm going to change the kerning on this. I'm just going to do the character spacing a little bit. Okay, I think that spacing looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to have to click on the text tool again, and I'm just going to stay with the same font and the same text size, and I'm just going to do a cap lock ABC. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing because I'm going to click off of that. Okay, I'm going to go back to the text, and then I'm going to go to my lowercase, and I'm going to do a phrase. And I'm just going to do lowercase, watch me. Okay, and now this is way too big. I don't want it quite this big. So I'm just going to highlight this, and I'm going to go to font size of, let's try 36. Ooh, that's too small. Still, I think 48 might be just about right. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, and then I'm going to go back to that again, do the 72 again, go cap locks, fly, and again I'm gonna highlight this and do some spacing in there. And you notice that you can edit the actual text itself, change the font, you can change the character spacing, the line spacing, the size of the text, all of that when you have kind of this green outline around it with this little, I don't know, plus sign in the circle, or, you know, arrows in the circle, and this blue line here. If I go back and I press this one, you see this is a different kind of a square, and this is not adjusting the text at all. It's just adjusting the size and the rotation. So I could rotate the text if I want. I don't want to, but in order to get back to that other box where I can adjust the text, I'd have to double click on that a couple times to kind of figure out, you know, till I get to this again. But I'm happy with this as it is now. I'm going to move this up here for the moment. I'm going to take this, move it here, and I'm going to take this, and I want to make this fly about the same size as the watch me. So I might have to, let's see, I might have, first of all, I think I have to change the spacing between the characters. I don't think I did that when I did it before. So I double clicked, and I get the highlighter over to the right, click it, and I don't want to move it. I just want to drag and drop like that so that I highlight everything. And let's see. Oh, that might be too much. Let's see. I think 110 is pretty good right there. Okay. And then if I want to make this even a little smaller, you know, I don't need to worry about the size of the font. I just get this to this, you know, use this box to adjust the size of the graphic. to be exactly the same size as that. Now this is already 2.75 or 2.7 inches. I could make it slightly bigger, I guess. Let's see. I can make it 2.75. I don't think I want it larger than, I get my 3 would be fine too. Up to 3, I think would be fine. Okay. Yeah, that looks good. And then I'm just going to take this and I'm going to move it down below that, and you can see that you've got this, when you move this, you have this blue line off to the left, and that tells you the left side is aligned. So that's good. If I want it to be aligned in the center, I do it like that. Although it doesn't look quite aligned like that. It looks better like that, I think. All right, so now I'm gonna select this, press Shift, and select this, and I want to group these because I want those two to be together. Okay, so I'm going to do another phrase. I'm just gonna do it over here. I'm gonna change where everything is later, so no big deal. Maybe move it down slightly. I'm just using my down arrows to move it down, and then I'm going to press Shift and select this as well, and then go back here and group those two as well. And now when I resize this, if I resize it, I can resize the entire thing. I do not. Okay, so I've got a lot going on here. I think I'm gonna have to, I want to do one more phrase, but I'm gonna have to move this thing over in order to kind of fit it in here. And then I'm gonna, copy, paste, and kind of mess around a little bit. So I typed 4 different lines there, and this is all part of one phrase, but I find it easier to align and resize phrases when you do each line separately rather than trying to do a return. And I'm just aligning each line and sizing it so that it's between the 1 inch and the 4.5 inch lines on the mat. And I'm using those as my guide. Okay, this one, do it until I see the blue line. There we go. And then I'm scaling this back until this part of the S is right there. There we go. Okay. So the other thing you can do is take these, and these are, highlight each of these by shifting and then clicking on each one, and then going to this align, and you can align each of these. So you want to align the left. They're already aligned, all aligned left. We want the spacing to be vertical. So this will space them all equally vertically. Doesn't look like the spacing between those two is quite the same, just because we've got the Y there. And there's nothing between this one and that one. So I might still want to move that down a little bit, even though they are theoretically spaced evenly. So, I mean, just visually, I think I would like this down slightly. And I'm just going to use, I just clicked on it and I'm using the down arrow key on my keyboard to kind of just eyeball where I think it looks good. And I think that is pretty good. All right, so now I'm going to go back again. I'm going to hit my shift key, click on this, click on each piece of these, and then I want to group these. Instead of this first align, I'm going to go to the second one, which is scale. This is already locked, so it's not going to mess anything up, but I want this to be, I think, 3. So I'm just going to highlight the whole thing, type in 3 and hit return. And you can see what you come up with right there. This is getting a little busy, so I'm going to copy these actually. I think I'm going to cut it. I'm going to cut that, and I'm going to put that on a new page. Okay, and then I'm going to go back to this first page, and I'm just going to arrange these, and I can, you know, cut these and paste these and do all sorts of stuff. The only other thing I want to add to this is that I had previously made this ephemera page from one of my digital kits into a cut file. So you can see if I send this, all of these are cut files. I want to take the butterflies. So let's see, this is locked, so I can't edit anything until I unlock it. I'm just going to select that, copy, and I'm going to paste it in here. And even though this is pasted as a print and cut file, it doesn't really matter. It'll just show up as a butterfly shape, you know, when I go to cut it on any old paper. It doesn't really matter. Okay. You can see that I did a lot of copying and pasting, resizing, rotating, all that sort of stuff. Okay, so this is what I ended up with. I want this to be my top layer, so I want it to look, you know, really nice. I really love the way this actually turned out, and I'm definitely going to save this cut file to use for other projects as well. I went ahead and cut this already, but I just want to show you when I went to send it, I realized the first time I went to cut it out, it was having some difficulty cutting out like this W. You know, things were looking fine, but it just, I don't know, it just had a, you know, it wasn't a super clean cut. And then this G had some problems as well. Maybe it was just a tiny bit too small. I'm not entirely sure. But what I did when I went to cut it is that I went under here, so I pressed send, and I went to cut it. I put the cardstock plain, and I want to do this overcut thing, so I just put more, and down here I clicked this box where it says line segment overcut right there, and I think the default was 0.1, but I changed them both to 0.2. That seemed to help clean up the cut a tiny bit. This cut really well on 65 pound cardstock that I did. It was really nice cut. I was having a little bit of difficulty with it cutting out on my 32 pound printing paper from the HP printing paper that I printed the printables on. So I just think it was a little bit lightweight. I have older mats and I don't think it was sticking really well to them. So that could be part of what the issue was with my cut. But you know, with some of these fine, a lot of fonts and stuff where you have a lot of fine small cuts, this line segment overcut kind of helps sometimes. It just slightly goes over where the line was, so you get more crisp cuts in some of these intricate places. So that's just a little tip that might help. So this is what it looks like cut out, and you can see it turns out really, really well. On this one, I think I'm gonna add some, how about some circles instead of just various size circles. That actually sounds kind of cool. Okay, so let's see, I'm gonna get rid of that. I'm gonna go to this transform panel, and let's see, I want to make this so that it is 1.5 by 1.5. So I'm just typing those in, hit return, that'll make a perfect circle, and then I lock it, okay? And then I'm just going to replicate this below. I'm gonna go ahead and, let's see, just move it down a little bit, and then I'll go ahead and, come on, replicate that one again below. And then I'm going to press shift key, and then click on each of these, go to my align. I want them aligned horizontally. I want them spaced vertically, and you'll see now they're all uneven. And it doesn't really matter. I mean, I don't have to do that, but let's see. I'm going to, again, let's just replicate that to the right. And I'm just gonna take this and I'm just gonna resize the whole thing and replicate below. Just kind of move it around. I can make this one much larger. You know, there's no real rhyme or reason to this. I'm just kind of having fun with it. Send this and press send. Okay, so here's the big reveal. I'm very, very slowly and carefully taking this off of the mat. Normally, you don't really care about the piece you're removing from the mat, you care about what's sticking to the mat, but in this case, I care about both. So I'm being really, really careful. These threes seem to stick quite a bit, so I'm using a tool to get under the edge so I don't tear the top piece of paper. But when I'm done, it's really cool because I end up with everything that's on the mat in terms of ephemera and this really cool sheet with all these die cuts cut out of it. All right, that turned out super cool. I really like the way that turned out. And it was very fast and easy to make this particular one. What I do think I'm gonna do, this is following Luisa's plan, is that I'm gonna be, and she did it slightly differently because what she did is she used, this is a, you know, something as a base. One of her printouts is a base, and then she did the cutout over it. And then she took this, actually she cut it in half, and then she did one half of that she actually cut on top of it again. So, you know, her process was slightly different, but I'm gonna do it this way where I just, you know, use this as a base here, And then I'm going to put this over the top of that, like that. Before I do that, I need to do, Luisa did some stenciling and some inking. Okay, so I've pulled some inks that I want to use, and I usually swatch them just to see if they're the right colors that I want. And this is the orange, this is the gathered twig, and this is the sepia. I decided not to use that. Of course, it's the wrong color palette. And then some various stamps. I've got this polka dot. I've got this Studio Calico stencil. And then I've got a couple other, like some font stamps that I thought would be fun to play around with. Okay, so I'm just gonna start off with this stencil, and you know, I'm not gonna, of course, try to make it like perfect or anything. And I'm just using my gathered twigs distress oxides. I'm just gonna kind of add a little bit of whatnot here and there. I don't even know what's gonna end up showing in the end, but this will kind of give us some fun stuff to play around with. All right, that's looking pretty good. Do a few of these just polka dotty things. Take this plastic off. I think I'm gonna use the blue, and I'm just, you know, I'm not trying to get an even coverage. Just trying to make this really distressy, and yeah, I'm not trying to get you know, full coverage anywhere. I'm trying to get some of those second and third generation stamps going, and I think I'll go ahead and do some on this one as well. Maybe I'll use some of this orange. And again, I'm not trying to make this perfect or anything. I'm just really kind of going for a distressy look. And I'm gonna take the paper to the ink pad instead of putting the ink pad on the paper, just because I don't want this whole block of text to be on there. I just want to have, like, you know, more of an organic look, kind of like we've done on here. And since you can't bend a wooden stamp like you can, you know, one like this, this is the way I'm gonna do it. So just kind of going like that. You see I kind of get a little bit of the stamp on there. Okay, so I put this vintage sepia on this stamp. This is all the letters and whatnot. I might want to do something to make these stand out a little bit more. I think Luisa used some distress crayon, and all right, so I have this Ground Espresso Distress Crayon. I think I'm just going to start off with the circles. Kind of go around the edges, you know, get some definition. So then that, you know, kind of gives you more of a visible circle there. Okay. Let's see what that looks like on there. Oh, I like that. That looks really cool. Yeah, that definitely stands out more now. The other thing that I did want to do on this, I wanted to add a little bit of gold accents. Actually, I really like this iridescent bronze paint. Let's see, let's just do a little dry brushing. Okay, so I think that's good on that one. I might take a little bit of some water. Oh, that looks really pretty. Okay, so Luise sewed her pieces together. I may do that later, but I think for right now, I'm just going to use some matte medium. I was thinking before I do this, I might add a little bit of, I really like this quote. I might back that with some gold. But this is a little bit, I don't know, a little too bright for me. I think what I want to do is actually take a little bit of some sanding block, kind of, oh, look at that. I'm getting some lines. I didn't really want the lines, but I'm getting the lines. Okay. Okay, that's fine. That's interesting because that paper underneath is folded. So that's kind of cool. But I'm just kind of roughing this up a little bit so it has a little bit more interest to it. Okay, let's just see what that looks like underneath there. It's still fairly bright, but not quite. It's a little more distressed looking. Okay, so I just want to cut a piece that basically backs that. And luckily these don't need to be too perfect because, you know, it's just going to be on the back of this. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to use some double-sided tape because this, I don't think, is going to stay down the way it is. So yeah, I think that looks pretty good. That's looking pretty good. I'm gonna let that dry. Okay, so now it's dry. I just glued this other piece of Luise's printable on the back, just so it has a nice backing to it that's neutral, can write on the cards. And I'm just gonna now cut this. Okay, so I'm just cutting this into 5 different sections. And then I'm going to trim each piece so that, you know, they can actually be used for tags. And then I'm going to cut the corners. All right, I actually kind of love them just like this, but I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of ink around the edge of each of those. I'm just going to use the gathered twig distress ink. All right, so I went ahead and I stitched around all of these. I thought I'd go ahead and just rounded the corners on this and stitched around this as well. Figure it can be a little journaling card or something. But today I'm just focusing on these 4 tags because that was Luise's challenge. So I was in the process of adding these little hole reinforcers, and it occurred to me, oh, I can like match the colors that are in here with some of the inks that I have. So I had already previously cut this, and I just used some ink to kind of, you know, match that blue. So I thought that's going to look really cool on there. And I thought I'd go ahead and take one of these yellow ones and do the same thing on this orange blossom ink. And I don't want like a completely even coverage because I kind of like a little bit of the, you know, that kind of a look right there. Oh, there we go, where you get kind of some different variations of color. I like that quite a bit. Look at that. Okay, so I am just silly excited about how these turned out. I absolutely love them. I'm not sure that I can pick a favorite, but I really love this one. This is fairly simple. You know, I just used the basic tag, did a stitch around all of the edges. And I added this jewelry piece that is kind of a vintage piece of jewelry that I had in my stash. Added this little Tim Holtz dangle here, which I think, you know, adds a nice little touch. And this, you know, moves around. It kind of, you know, has a little bit of play to it, which is fun. And then I added this piece of velvet ribbon on the back so that it has kind of like a tag pull type thing, and then place for journaling on the back. I really love the way that one turned out. This other big one, I really love this too. I dyed some of my tea towels, and I have a video. I'll put a link in the description box below as well as up here, just to show you how I do that. But it's super simple, just with, you know, Tim Holtz inks. And I think it just adds kind of a cool, really kind of grungy retro feel to it. Again, I did stitching around the edges. I liked playing off of this big it and having this dude kind of sitting on the top of the T. I thought that was really fun. And then I added this feather. And I really love the way that feather looks and kind of plays on the whole wing it, you know, theme. And I added this little Tim Holtz nib to the bottom, and those are pretty old. I don't know, and it says notes across it right there. I don't know if you can find those anymore. Those are pretty vintage Tim Holtz. Added a little Tracy Fox label over here, and then I had this, I had like a mouse pad type calendar that I just cut off the months off of here, and then added a portion of a Tim Holtz film strip over the top. And I think it just adds kind of a fun little element. This guy was kind of hanging off the edge, so I wanted something a little bit more on that side. But anyway, I really like the way that turned out. I just added, you know, the other piece of the calendar with the numbers, and then I had this little, I don't know what that tear off sheet part thing, and then another Tracy label over here. I added one of my tag reinforcers up on the top, and I will leave a link to the tag reinforcers as well if you're interested in those, because those are really super handy, as well as Luise's printables that I used in this project. But I really love the way that one turned out. I absolutely love this one. This one's just, you know, this little girl's just absolutely precious. Look at her. Isn't she just the cutest little thing you've ever seen with her dolly? And I don't know, it harkens back to my childhood, you know, and I just felt like I needed that message of, you know, watch me fly. I'm gonna succeed here. And I used a Tim Holtz, like one of those transparent butterfly wings. Used his tiny attacher. I colored the staples, the mini staples, with some gold Sharpie, and I like the way that turned out as well. Very, very simple on this one. Added another little Tracy label, and then added some Sari silk on here. And the back is just very, very simple. I love that. And these three, you know, I really love the message of this. I think I'm really, you know, this, I've always loved butterflies and the symbolism that they, you know, represent. And I think right now they're really speaking to me. You know, I feel like, you know, at this point in my life, with my youngest going off to college, you know, applying to colleges right now, I think this is really, this whole message is really speaking to me of, you know, spreading your wings, you know, living your dreams, winging it, watch me fly. You know, I feel that both for her and for me, this is just really, you know, a message that resonates right now. So it has a lot of deep personal meaning for me. This card just seemed, this tag just seemed to need this little guy with the top hat. I think he's just hilarious. And he seems kind of like a banker to me. So I put this balance over here. I love the way, you know, the little tag reinforcer turned out when I added some ink to it. It really matches kind of what's going on over here. I added these gears, and then I added some gears to the ends of this string so that these have, you know, that has a little play and movement. And I just really love that. And a little bit of this netting over the top. So I think this was from a Christmas ham one year, just, you know, so that's just really fun. And it kind of matches the whole Mary Poppins banker vibe. So, and then I love the back. I can't let anything stay white. So I had to cover the back of this, and I added another little Tracy label. So I just think that's, you know, it's just a fun little tag as well. And I absolutely love this. I want to thank Luise Heinzl so much for the challenge. This was really a great deal of fun. I want to thank her also for the printables, the free printables that she offered. I'll include a link to her video in the description box below. I'll also include a link to her Etsy kit that includes these printables as well as a whole lot more. You know, I really quite like, you know, these as a background. They have enough interest that they're fun, but you know, they're still subtle enough that you can write over them. So I really am thinking this would be a really fun kit to have instead of like lined paper, that type of thing, just to use for backs of tags and whatnot. Luise called this a lazy masterboard method. I don't know that anything that Luise does is ever lazy. You know, she adds so much detail to all of her work that I don't think there's anything lazy about this at all. And I really love the way it turned out. I think it's so cool, and it's kind of a fun technique to kind of add to your repertoire. Both cut files that I created today will be in my Ko-fi site for free. If you want to leave me a tip, that would be awesome too, but totally not necessary. I'm hoping that you'll play along and you'll, you know, enjoy doing this challenge as much as I have. I think that, you know, it's fun to kind of use the tools that we have. And if you have a Silhouette or an electronic die cutting machine, you know, pull that puppy out, get it going for you and working for you for doing junk journal projects. Why not? I want to thank you so very much for joining me today. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment. Which one's your favorite? Does the whole butterfly theme resonate with you as well? And if you like this kind of content, I would very much appreciate if you would subscribe to my channel and tell your friends to subscribe to my channel. I am trying to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of 2023. I'm only about 250 subscribers away from that goal. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm really, really hoping that happens, and with your help it will. Thank you again for joining me. I really appreciate it. Again, this is Denise with Paper Crafty, and craft on.